Good afternoon and welcome to Sew Like a Pro. I found this block online and I want to show you what I did to develop to figure out how to get the different segments. So first, I decide what colors I want. I see that it's 3 different colors in here to get this block configuration. So I really simply took it and folded in half the 2 of these patterns so that they can meet. And then I discovered that it was divisible by 4. So I decided I want an 8-inch finished block. And then I decide my color. So I know that I need to make each of these 2.5 inches, 2.5, 2.5. So if I start with the first block, that's going to be 2.5 inches wide, because that's my seam allowance included. And then since this is 2 blocks, those are 2.5, 2.5. So this would be 4.5 inch section. Then my next color would be a 2.5 and a 2.5. So I would go to my next one. That would be 2.5. And then this one is 6. So these would be 6 inches. The next is 6 in my teal and then 2.5 inches. That one is 6.5. Then this was 2.5, 2.5, 6.5. So if I add all of those together, I'm going to get 8 inches, 8 by 8. With it stitched together, so that would eliminate the seam allowance. So it's really 2 inches and a half-inch seam allowance, 2 inch, half-inch seam allowance, 2 inches, and so on and so on. So then I took all my segments. I know if I take these and stitch these together, white, teal, white, the next section was the white and the brown, and the next would be the teal and the white, and the next would be the white and the brown and the white. So I had all of my pieces. I stitched them all together, 2.5 inches wide by the width of the fabric. And as you look here on the table, you will see it that I had all of those stitched together, the entire width of the fabric. And now I'm going to cut them in 2.5 width segments. So I'm just line up my rotary color. I cut the selvage off already, and I stitch a couple of the pieces together so you can see how they go together. And all of these are sewn together the exact same way. What happens is when you sew them together, you just turn it, and we turn them and we turn them, and then it'll look like they are interlacing and making like a square chain. So then the first one would be the cream and the teal. The next would be the chocolate and the cream, and the next would be the teal and with the chocolate up top. So I would take mine and line them up, sew these 2 together, sew these 2 together, and then sew these together. And I would press my seams in the way that they want to go, and then look at the results. Here's my first one. I stitched those together. My second one, I turn it. They all are exactly the same. What makes them interlace is that you keep turning them the next direction and the next direction. So this one would go this way, and then the chocolate would go that way, and then the teal would go this way, and then here's the other chocolate. So you see, look, they interlace, and then the same. And then you just continue to figure out how many you'll need to get it to the quilt size that you desire. So how we do this, we start out with the pattern. So say, for instance, you want a 30-inch baby block, or 32 or 36. You can add a border, whatever. But you can make this whatever size you want, but long as you remember that it's divisible by 4. So we sew the sections together, and we're going to end up with a beautiful quilt. Now, how I came up with these colors? By looking through a book. So if you're undecided about what color you want to choose, just look in a book or a magazine or something hanging in your closet with beautiful colors, and then pull that out as your color combination, and you're going to end up with a beautiful quilt. So may God bless all your quilting, knitting, crocheting projects. till I see you next time.